Hello. We will see what value can be made to occur. It is possible that today we might succeed in the games industry. Ole 32, everybody's favorite library. Aside from Shoal W API. Who doesn't love Shoal W API? Notice we're doing Ole 32 twice here. That's pretty great. Why is that happening? Okay. Is it actually called Ole 32 capitals in the file system? Because the Windows file system is case insensitive, but Windows system, where is it? System 32? Where is Ole 32.dll? Working on it. Working on it. It is lowercase. I assume that is the same. Well, that's already a value. We didn't even change the compiler. Wait, what were we? we were doing this. Why was that doing Windows resources? Are we importing Windows resources? Oh, it's because this demo I was like, wait, because usually these demos are these repros are very minimal. I was like, why are we getting Windows resources? It's because we're importing it. Mystery solved. Mystery solved. Okay, is there anyone on who knows Windows stuff? So like one of the beta people was like, hey, I called disable runtime console, which, you know, what it does is it puts these linker arguments in, right? And, you know, so we go into whatever entry point. And this person was like, but now when I try to print to the console, it doesn't work. I want to be able to print to a console without opening a console. Just if we ran from a window to output or ran from a console to output. And I don't know if there's a build option to do that, or if you would have to make your program do that. They want it to print a standard out, yes, but they don't want it to open a console window by default. It works with GCC. What is it? What do you mean? Like with output debug string? Well, like with just writing the standard out. Just the subsystem Windows part. They migrated their build system from JS to Rust, and the speed up gain is only 7x. Well, that's a huge speed up if you're just talking about the build system and not actually doing the work of building things. Like, that's a massive speed up, actually. Dash WI dash dash subsystem console. Those are options to GCC. Or those are linker options somehow. When you build GCC, right? So wait, if I say subsystem console, is that a thing? Are we saying that that's a thing? Oh my gosh. But will that prevent it from opening a window? Will that prevent it from opening a console window? Otherwise. How would I test that? Like if I go to here, where's my executable file? Why don't I see it? What is going on? Today, 6:54 p.m. Am I hallucinating? Hello, Windows? Do we like not even draw all the files in a folder anymore? Is that how Windows works? Today, November 1, C. Am I going crazy? Am I going crazy? Let's go Windows. Let's go Windows. I also don't see Let's Go Windows. What is going on? I see other executables, so it's not hiding executables. Let's Go Windows. All right, if I sort by name, it's there. Oh, wait. So this date is a different date than the one when you dir it for some reason. This must be the date when this is like original file creation date, and this is like the last time somebody said, let's go Windows. Dude, I don't even know. Anyway, no, it created a console. Right? Whereas if I say subsystem Windows, it will not create a console. But it also won't print. No console though. Okay, well, maybe I'm just going to give up unless someone can tell me what to put in there right now. I'm going to give up on it for now because it's just not that important. It would be nice to know how to do it, but it is a user level thing. Don't see anything special you're doing with GCC. Well, maybe, okay. What is this part? Maybe it's this part. Let's try random options. Unresolved external symbol win main. Yes, the wonderful. Well, I'm going to not care about this right now. I think I am going to work on an actual thing that delivers value to the people. All right. Here we have a thing, a repro from one of the people, and the repro illustrates the fact that the way our hashes come out right now, the memory debugger don't know what to do. So I want to turn this into a memory debugger repro, though. The deal is the way that we make hashes for the stack trace nodes so that they're fast means that at these two different call sites, we have the same hash, and that's not good. So I think we fix it just by adding the line number. But let's turn this into a repro. Okay. So really, I think it's very simple to just put it right here. But I want to repro the bug. I don't just want to tweak this. I want to repro the bug. And to do that, let's make a memory leak. Let's just say X is new 3 float. All right. And I don't think we need to be as elaborate about this, but we'll do it anyway. Can't believe I don't have documentation at in the file. What? How did I not document this? Okay, we do have an example. That's good. Okay, I feel better. So we're going to import basic with these parameters right here. And we're going to just give it a blank leak report options. Okay. So it's giving me the same call stack for both of these, which is not good, right? So it's in alloc from new, from proc2, from proc1 at line 17, which is here. So I'm in the wrong thing. So that's fine. So then here, I want to oh, it's in. I didn't preload? That's why. Okay. So we have this procedure info here. I think we just do this. I think that's all that we have to do. Nope. What? Line 75. Right, it's in the other file. Okay, wait. This is actually hold on. maybe there were two different issues and I'm conflating them. So here we have alloc to new to proc2 line 12, right, which is that, to proc1 line 17. Okay. Wait, we have the same hash, but the line numbers differ like way down. That doesn't seem good. That seems very bad. Okay, that is, I was getting confused and I was thinking it was the very last procedure call that we weren't handling, but it looks to me like the hash doesn't know about line numbers at all. That's bad. We can't, that's a system level problem. We need to fix that tonight, even though it may be one instruction slower. Hash does not look the same. What do you mean? There and there. Let's comment out this stuff because this is not really relevant to the repro. So it's this versus this, right? What's happening is this is our leak report, and it thinks we have two leaks in the same call tree, but we don't. They're in two different ones. All right. And the difference is this is at line 17 and this is at line 21, but the hash is coming out the same for both of them. Maybe I'll make a new bytecode instruction. Or you give for this kind of simple stack trace memory report in C++. I know, right? Like this is the thing. So way back in the old days, you couldn't really get this kind of information. And then people started building tools like this, but the tools are very annoying to use, right? And they have limitations and they have build process fuckery and all this stuff, right? So part of the goal was to build it in and make it simple and good, right? And so it's what I did. Put it right in the standard library. It's simple. It's not even that much code to do this report. It's 887 lines. And everybody has this capability. As soon as you get the compiler, you have this capability. All you have to do is that and then that in any program. Also, it catches, double freeze and that kind of thing. I'm going to warm up some tea water. we are pushing a stack trace node. Okay. Let me make sure this is the only time. We're going to have to do this in both backends. Actually, all three, because we're going to have to do... So what are we doing here? Okay, this is kind of fucked. This makes me sad, guys. Sag. The reason this is Sag is because I do all this stuff to init the hash. To make it constant. Right? I could just add and subtract. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Because I don't want to be doing like multiplies and stuff every time you call a procedure. It's a little bit silly because we're going to have to restore the stack trace node. Yeah, I don't love it, but we're going to have to do it. But we're going to have a good spicy chai with milk and honey. Tea, not latte. We're not going to do a latte today. So I'm just picking a number based on the call site of the procedure call. And then we're just going to add and sub that number. The trick is, though, maybe I don't have those instructions yet. In fact, I probably may not. So we're going to add this what do I call this? I need to grab RDX. Okay. And then we do down here. Subtract the hash addend from the old node. Wait, is that a size? Yeah, sorry, that's a size. I don't even know. I'm goofing all sorts of things. All right. Add 64 immediate. Oh. But that would be load add. All right. We need to make a function for this. All right. Here we go. Oh God, it's so bright. Add RM64. Oh, we actually can do. We can do an immediate. Okay, we can figure this out. So we don't actually need this RDX. We just need needed to go rex w. Okay. Add 64 immediate into memory. Okay. Wait, I'm destroying the original function. That's no good. Okay, hold on. We're just going to do this. Add 64 immediate S32 into memory. And we're also going to sub 64. It's going to be like Nintendo 64. It's been so long since I've done these. All right. Whoops. Okay, so we're going to just do a minus here. And we'll make that better someday in the future if we ever care. We probably don't. Okay, so we want base register, offset, and I'm just going to rename this again. Why? I don't know. In fact, I'm making such a spam. Okay, so we're just going to hard code it because this is a stupid instruction. Mod equals 2 for 32-bit offset. And size is 4. Get rex r rex w plus 81. What does that even mean? Slash, oh God, it's been so long, I don't remember any of this stuff. ID is immediate D word. So we need to figure out rex w plus 81, which I think is just literally rex w plus 81, right? And then mod rm wait. No, that's not actually add the byte, right? That's just put the prefix. Hold on. See, it's been so long since I did this nonsense. I think we want this, right? So mod rm, so /0 is like this. I don't fucking remember. I'm gonna guess maybe 0. So we're down here, though. I don't remember what /0 means. Does anyone remember what /0 means? I have to look this up every time. Literally every time. It's some configuration of the mod RM byte, but I don't remember what. Null terminator? No, that is not what it is. And then we'll do... Oh, wait. Shit. Right. No, we do need all this stuff somehow. Because we need to put the indirect... I don't know. Okay. And then we put the offset. And then we put the immediate. So /0 is something with the sib byte and all this shit. I think it's like 3. It's going to be something like this, right? Literally nobody in the chat knows what /0 means. You're all fired. I'm going to pour my tea. This is the part that's going to take like an hour. Okay, let's see. x86 instruction set. What does /0 mean? There's some page that explains it. Okay. Tea is okay, but it's going to need some milk and honey. Let me get on. Tea plus almond milk is the best. No, that is false, because I hate to tell you this, but almond milk is not really milk. And if you think that it is, like basically almond milk is fake news disinformation that Mark Zuckerberg needs to moderate so that we don't hear about it. You know what I mean? Almond milk is fake news. Why is this in AT&T syntax? This is not going to be relevant. What does the /4 mean? The mod rm byte of the instruction uses only the rm. Okay. I think it's like that. I don't know. So here we have the stack trace node into RCX. And then we put that hold on. Why am I getting everything wrong? Literally so many mistakes. All right. Boom. Okay. We added an instruction and we don't have enough space now for our extra instruction. Well, now we crash because I messed it up. Let's see what it looks like. So slow, God. All right, so I messed up the instruction encoding, which should be no surprise to anyone. How the fuck do I get the disassembly window? There we go. Okay. Okay, this is really not... This is really not appropriate. And then this is also messed up down here because we destroy everything. Although it looks mostly right here. So all right, here's what we're going to do. Is we're going to put no ops before and after so that we can see it easily. Going to put some knobs. What? Lol. All right. Wait. Wrong program to run. This one. Okay. So nop add RSP plus 50H blammo. So Rex W 81 okay, so four 2450. So that's RSP plus 50, which looks right. And then these 4 bytes. But I'm not seeing the 2 nops afterward, which are here. These 2 9 zeros are our nops. So like okay. So it thinks our immediate I don't get this at all. Because, oh, it thinks our offset is size 1. Is 1 byte, and we're packing 4. And we could just keep that. And we could just pack 1 because this instruction is only used in one place. Like, this is literally a special purpose. At some point, we're going to make our code generator better. And then we'll probably use Ryan's whatever API he uses to generate instructions at that point. Okay. Look, now we have 2 different call stacks. We have 2 different hashes. Excellent. Now, what version of Visual Studio? I use 2017, and it's okay, but like Visual Studio does not get better over time, right? The best that you can hope is that it didn't get worse. So I don't really recommend upgrading unless you have to. Like, I don't remember the last time Visual Studio actually got better in a release, but it was before I can fucking remember. Okay, so now, though, we have to make sure... See, so now we've made sure that the hashes are different, but now we have to make sure that they're the same across the same call stack, right? So here, we want to make sure that we restore the hash so that next time we call in, it'll be the same for the next iteration. And it is. So it worked. That's great. Guys, chai with milk and honey is really good. It's a really good, I think it was Ramanujan who invented it. I don't answer what's your opinion questions. Do I look like a monkey to you? I mean, I do. I kind of look like a monkey that evolved a little bit more, if we're being honest, but what is my professional opinion on chai? It's that it is the best substance. I mean, what do you think I think about Crab Game? What do you think I'm going to tell you about Crab Game? Do you think I'm going to tell you that it's the greatest feat of game design and it's purely original and that nobody could have ever thought of something like Crab Game? And I'm astonished that game developers are able to expand the medium into imaginative places that, for example, television shows could never go, and make these really new experiences that are mind expanding and wonderful. Yeah, that's what I think about Crab Game. Visual Studio will be 64-bit. Yeah, but it's still going to be worse. Yeah, it'll be 64-bit and somehow slower. That is exactly correct. Whatever happened to Windows Terminal? Are they still doing exactly the same thing they were doing before, or did they get so embarrassed that they had to take it back to the drawing board and revamp it? They'll come out with a next new version of Windows Terminal that's 15% faster than the already faster Windows Terminal. Okay. So now, all right. This instruction was implemented just for stack trace node stuff. That's why the offset is so restricted. How is tonight's value coming along? It is coming along. We have done a little bit of value. We, however, need more value in more places. We need, for example, okay, hold on. Let's not do this. Yeah. So here it's got the same hash, right? This time, because we're doing it in bytecode execution, so now I got to go fix that. It should be much faster change. What did we call the variable? Hash addend. Ay, ay, ay. Procedure invoke from call. We'll just put it on here. Okay. Does anyone else call that? Nope. 2 sites here. So if it's set that. Actually, no, you know what? We don't actually have the same information available here. Interestingly. So, since the hash is arbitrary, it could be anything. We just need to set something. It could be the instruction index, which is fine. Or even the low bytes of the pointer. Which is kind of, but it actually doesn't matter here again, because this is for compile time procedure. So push procedure, has fucking callies all over the place. So run bytecode, that's from top level. We actually are not super worried about that. Run modify directive or call procedure. I see. Okay, here's where we push the thing. We can just do it in here. Okay. Wait. Are we not setting the hash? It's fine. This is where it has. Yes. Okay, so new node. Okay. No, we got to rebuild the compiler. Let's do that. How do I get C++ to shut up about this? You can't and a pointer. The fuck? What? Can somebody just drop kick C++ off a cliff, please? How do I do this? If you were to distribute a binary-only version of some code generated by this compiler, do you also require to provide a file with type definitions? No. What do you mean like in C and C++? Why do you say you need to provide a file with type definitions and function declarations? What? For what purpose are you saying you need to provide such a file? Use static cast. Okay. Oops. My hands are on the wrong keys. Static cast. I'm just going to do this. I'll just let it tell me where it is. Static cast cannot fucking I wouldn't mind if the casting rules actually made any sense, but they don't. So it's just like extra aggravating. All right. So this part works. We have different hashes. Now, I suspect I might have messed the following thing up, but we're going to see. So we want 5 reports. 2, 3. It worked. Bruh. 7931, 7931, 7931, 7931, 7931. Okay, only one back end left. Not only do they not make sense, they're also inconsistent. Yes. Consistency is the hobgoblin of small minds, or something like that. Think a compiled version of something written in C. As a user, you need a .o.a.lib and also a header file. Oh, okay. You were talking about header files. Okay, I thought you were talking about distributing a final executable that somebody runs. You are talking about a thing that people can use to program with. And what I would say is that for this language, that would work much like C right now, because I don't see how it wouldn't, because you want something readable by people so that they know what the fuck to do. Like, you wouldn't just want to secretly encode information in a way that only the compiler knows, because then what if they want to, like, introspect on a thing in the debugger? Well, I guess that's fine. I don't know. Anyway, right now, if you want to distribute a library, the way that we give you to do that is exactly the C way. It is not the most powerful use case in this programming language. If you do that, you won't be able to use a lot of the programming language features on your code, because you just distributed your code at too low of a level. So, yeah, I don't recommend it, but you could. Okay. So we just got one more back end to do this on. And then I've just got to document it, and we'll make this into a test. Am I doing sleeps still? No. We will make this into a test and we'll change the, because instead of just printing the report, you can actually get the report and inspect it so we can make sure that it has the right number of things. But right now, if I go back and so that's wait, what? Oh, because I'm calling it. I was like, wait, there's too many. All right. So, two things. Now, if we go to LVM, we're only going to get one thing. And now I have to go figure out LVM, which might be the thing that takes a century. Anyway, one thing. If you embed all the type info in the binary, it seems very bloated. Well, we do not embed all type info in the program in the binary. We embed the type info that you actively query and everything that could get to, right? And so in a garbage collector style, we like flood fill the pointers from the type info that you directly use and figure out everything you touch and put that in. Or if you don't want any type info, you can disable it and not include any information in the binary, but then you don't get to use those language features. So it's a trade-off. Oh, but you're talking about for debugging and stuff. I was just now talking about just general runtime features. Okay. I'm going to make another tea because that one was so yummy. Yeah, I do think that we will have in the further future some kind of a format that is not source, but is also not operating system dependent low level thing. It'll be like essentially like half compiled, half obfuscated source, right? And the reason that that's useful is because you want to be able to use all the language features. So like one language feature is, here's a function. Let's rebake the function with this value for one of the parameters, right? You can't really do that if somebody gives you a library, right? You can do that if you have a source code equivalent representation, but your source code equivalent representation could, you know, have stripped out most of the information that makes it, you know, readable to people, right? So like you can take away the ability for people to clone your code very easily. I mean, they still could probably do it by reverse engineering the format, but people can reverse engineer your, like you know, if you've seen reverse engineering tools for x86 executables, they give you C source back from your x86 executable. It's just, it doesn't know what the variables are called and stuff. Someone writes a compile time borrow checker. Well, you can't really make a borrow checker in this language, I don't think. I mean, I guess you could. It would be nutty. but I get the point. Like, that's just an example, right? Yeah. So right now, I mean, okay, you could actually distribute a library that's a DLL, and there is a small amount of source code that's just enough for people to call into the DLL. You could do that, and that would work at compile time. It's not the most ergonomic thing. Okay, let me warm up this next tea. Back in a sec. Tea water's boiling still. Okay. Why don't I use these my offsets? Because it's more readable. LLVM defines something called offset. Awesome. All right, so let's just say did I mess this up? All right. Okay. Whoops. This is stack trace node. Dude, what is... There's too many parentheses. I'm getting killed. Killed by parentheses. Okay. Okay, so the hash... Okay. I need to frickin' do a bunch of crap. So... hash addend. Okay, I need to add to the hash addend, and in LLVM that's like takes 37 lines of code. Right. I'm going to go hash pointer. Actually, let's make sure I didn't break it. Warning, typecast, pointer truncation from BC star to U32. I know. I know. How do I get it? Oh. All right. So now this should still not do anything different than it did. Wait, what? Oh, no, that's the compile time version. That's the runtime version. Let's turn off the compile time version so I don't get confused. Okay. Now, we have the hash pointer. We will say we've got to load it, add it, and fucking old hash. Actually, we could keep the old hash. You know, because that requires, yeah, that requires using an extra register. Let's not do that. All right, so old hash, new hash is something, and then create store new hash into hash pointer. create add old hash, and then constant int get helper I32 hash add end. Okay. Okay, and create sub is also a thing. So we could do that. Okay. God, LVM is such a shit. So we get the node. Whoops. New node. Hey, it worked. And let's try this test. 1, 5 out, 5 and 5. We are Gucci. Right? That's what it's supposed to do, right? Yep. 5 and 5. Okay. Now let's make this into an actual test that we could run. Let's be sneaky here. Let's use our new feature. Oops. The new feature is I sneeze. Okay. Whoops. Okay, this time we're going to pour the tea, but our honey selection is going to be different. It is going to be Old Barrel Orange Blossom Honey. Hell yeah. You have these jars, which is a zip file of the Java byte code and headers you could easily share and include. Yeah, the problem is like bytecode is not the right level of abstraction for this language because again, it would prevent you from using some very good language features like all the polymorphism, right? So we would need something else than that, but yeah, something like that probably will happen. Tasty. Let me put the honey in. This honey takes a while to dissolve. It is very sugary. Save $40 from Starbucks. Well, I don't know if you noticed, but Starbucks prices did go up. Don't worry though, it's not hyperinflation. Don't worry. It's just transitory. It's totally fine to spend another $1.75 trillion on basically nothing that's all going to be wasted and add to the debt. Don't worry about it. Did you guys notice this fact, by the way? If inflation goes up to 5%, so the guys on the All In podcast were talking about this. If the CPI goes up to 5%, which it has hit on a momentary basis, right? If it stays at 5%, then the amount that the U.S. owes in debt service on its debt becomes 30% of GDP. AKA, we're fucked. And people want to spend $2 trillion on pork. And they're getting very emotional about it on Twitter. It's insane. It is completely insane. Like, we're basically over as a country for a while if that happens. Like, we won't be able to do anything. So the problem is, even if inflation really is 5%, they're going to have to lie about it because there's no way we can let it be 5%. Do you know what I mean? Elon Musk had a great tweet about $6 billion to solve world hunger. I saw that, and that was exactly the right response, by the way. It was exactly the correct response. Janet Yellen assumed zero additional inflation. Yeah. It's because that's her job, is to say that shit. Right? I almost wanted to get one of those Let's Go Brandon AR lowers from Palmetto State Armory today, but I didn't quite. Yeah, why doesn't the US just add another $6 billion to the $1 trillion bill to solve world hunger? Totally. Like, exactly. Yeah, did you guys not see this? They have a Let's Go Brandon AR lower. It's a pretty funny idea. Did I buy it? No. New Tarkov part. That would be hilarious. Oh, dude. If they put that in Tarkov, that would be awesome. The thing is, they don't. Yeah, they don't really have like a civilian AR lower in Tarkov, as far as I know. They have the 8R lower and the M4 lower, and I don't even know why those are different. Maybe it's because like the auto sear isn't a separate part, right? So it's two different lowers, and one's auto and one's not. NPC reporter. Okay, so what is the next step here? Oh yeah, making the test. Any questions about what we did so far? I know I've just been kind of mellow here doing this thing, but hopefully it makes sense to people. too warm in this apartment now. My stomach doesn't feel good right now either. I hope it's not the tea and honey. That would be terrible. Okay, anyway. So, when we do this memory leak, right? Report memory leaks, we can say make leak report, right? We're going to put this at the top. And I'm going to say, so this leak report, oh, it's a leak report. And sorted summaries should be 2. And we can actually there should be 2 different stacks with 5 leaks each. Whoops. Make leak report. Address of options. Dude, we did something to make the debug compiler way even slower than it already was. I don't know what it is. We're going to have to look at that. Anyway. Boom. Okay, so we're going to actually assert for every sorted summary, we're going to assert that it.leak count is equal to 5. Assert it.leak bytes is equal to. Let's actually make this a little bit more general. Iterations. All right, so with num iterations leaks each. All right. That's going to be 5. Okay. So this did not assert during compile time. Oh, we're still running x64. Let's run LVM. Boom. I mean, that's a pretty good test suite. It's still a simple test, but how do you measure memory leaks when you have a bunch of custom allocators? Well, why is everything failing? What did I do? So people don't call the custom allocators directly, right? They call our equivalent of the malloc function. And malloc in this language, instead of being hard-coded to do a specific thing, calls whatever the currently set allocator is. So the call to the memory debugging stuff is in that routine, right? So if I go to here, we just say, here's alloc. If we're doing memory debugger, then check it after we do it, right? That's all. It's a little extra one-liner. They thought they could help things by printing money, but nobody thought of the consequences. I don't think nobody thought of the consequences. I think the people who thought of the consequences were not listened to because everybody wants an excuse to print money, right? Because spending that money that you printed helps you fulfill political promises and makes people hopefully like you, right? So there's just tremendous pressure to solve all problems by printing money. Offset less than or equal to 7F. What? Oh, because it's stack base. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Fudge. Okay, we got to do better on that. Not bad. Okay, so we'll do the same thing here. We're going to go mod is 1. Okay. All right. All right. Let's go, Brandon. Oops. Let's just do it. Do I happen to know why the x64 ABI allows you to return 1, 2, 4, and 8-byte structs directly in RX, but not 3-byte structs? I have no idea. I have no idea. Honestly, I think the C and C++ calling conventions are way too complicated. I don't pay that much attention. What happens to temporary allocators which might not need to get freed? I forget what we do there. We do something there. What do we do there? It's in, I think it's in the, You know what? Right now it's hard-coded. Lol. Long term, I think we have to do something better here. But right now we just don't do anything. Yeah, we probably should provide a way for the user to indicate allocators that should also be ignored. Since compile time execution relies heavily on compiler internals, do users have to rewrite every time a new version? No. Why would you think that it relies heavily on compiler internals? It absolutely does not. What are you thinking would need to depend heavily on compiler internals? And then I can tell you why it doesn't. How about if we do that? Okay, so there's going to be a bunch of no check-ins. I think this was an interface types.h. You don't have access to the calling site. Wait. Where do we get the site from? We're using BC debug expression. Does that work? I think we're going to have to change this slightly. Users are given an intermediate representation, but even that still changes quite a lot. Not really. Because the IR may change. But what does that have to do with compile time execution? What are you thinking that people have to write IR directly to do compile time execution? They absolutely don't. It's just regular code, just like any other code. Palais d'été. No, I don't think I've tried that. Braces can be harder to match up. That's a made up assertion of a non-problem. You're also assuming braces only occur on if statements, which is whack. They occur in a lot of different places. Why am I responding to somebody who's talking about syntax anyway? God, I did the thing. I did the thing where I respond to people talking about syntax. Palais d'été. All right. I do not speak French, no. Four X brace, 4Y brace, 4Z brace. Dude, you know, I'm going to ban you if you keep saying stupid shit. All right. So, like, watch the channel for a little bit before you say stuff that's not even true or relevant to anything. Okay. So I have this problem. We're going to change this site argument. All right, so oh, yes. We don't need this anymore. Wouldn't it make more sense to name them F32 and F64? Yeah. I just didn't do that. Didn't feel like it. It's just so weird. Like, I have very little tolerance for somebody who's clearly been programming for like 2 years. Like, okay, there's several different dimensions, and I talk about this a lot. So I'm going to try not to be tilted about it. But one, you don't go into someone's house and start telling them they're wrong about things and then insult them when they don't agree that they're wrong about things, right? So that's one thing. Don't come to my channel and do that. But then, like, guys, I've been programming for 39 years. Like, I know some shit. And if you show up and you've been programming for 2 years, and you don't understand the difference in experience between 2 years and 39 years, it's not my job. It's not my job, you know? That's all. Bet the dude is as old and got called a little kid. Maybe, but like, I mean, look, if you're telling me that like end if is a dramatically better way to end a block when most blocks aren't even if statements, that's just nonsensical. You have to have very little programming experience to even think that that's a thing, right? And it's just an annoying waste of my time to show up and be saying that shit. So that's all. "39 years is a lot of experience for someone turning 20 next year." Yeah, I know, but like, I program about 50 hours a day. You know, it's how I get it done. Let me make sure I didn't break that. What do the numbers in the brackets mean? That is which thread is doing that build. Okay. Let us go back here. Could be a problem here where we generate the in order so that we don't do a multiply on every procedure call, we leave a pre-generated hash on each stack trace node when it's initialized. Then at each call site, we add a unique integer during the call and subtract it off again after the call so as to leave the original hash unmolested. Speed. This can be optimized. This is only being done to disambiguate between several different calls to the same target procedure from the same source procedure. If this does not occur, which it may not much of the time, we can optimize away these ads. Okay. Okay, are there other no check-ins? Yes, there is. See, inter types.h. Okay. Let's make a release compiler and we'll test the things with the release compiler. Yeah, I think the game would have worked better with 4. So, okay. I think you could have killed 2 birds with 1 stone in terms of fixing the game. Like what you're saying about having each scribe have their own version of the game, I think would be better. And if I were to guess, I would guess that that's what he had originally intended to do, and then it was too much work or something, right? Because even the second one, the robot one, it's just not as polished and good as the original one, right? So probably the problem, though, is that then the way it's done is all this other crap is just in the overworld game, right? And it just comes at you. It's too fast and too much and too random, and there's no way to care, and there's not enough playtime there to get good at it, right? So I think that would fix it for sure. Yeah. Like, if I just got snatched out of the first game and then played only the wizard game, right? That would have been cool and interesting and different. You always use these arguments from authority. No, that's not argument from authority. No, this is, okay, look. Merit is a thing. People who have been doing something a long time have more experience at that than people who just fucking showed up, all right? That's just a fact in the world. If you don't understand that, then you're at a disadvantage operating in the world. Now, that doesn't 100% mean that the person who's been doing it longer is necessarily correct or is necessarily better, but there's a very large correlation, okay? And then you look at that person's track record. You look at what they've done. How good is what they've done? Are they able to ship complicated things, etc.? And that should inform whether you pay attention to that person or not. Okay? If you are part of this weird millennial and or Zoomer aesthetic that's like, we need to be inclusive and everybody is equally good and everybody can show up and tell you how to structure your program, even if they just fucking learn to open notepad.txt and type some logo into it yesterday. I mean, you can try that philosophy out, but you're not going to get very far in terms of being successful. And that's what I have to say on that matter. Like, this all sounds very obvious to me, so I'm not sure what problem you can have with that, what I just said. Like, look, especially when you talk about an experience difference that's that large, right? If someone shows up and says something that sounds like something I would have said 36 years ago before I had 36 additional years of programming experience, I know what that looks like. Like, these things are just obvious. Like, here's the thing. Okay. The internet, and in terms of saying, looks like I'm incapable of handling any sort of criticism. I take notes and criticism from people who I deem worthy of being listened to, right? People who are approximately at my experience level or who have shown great aptitude and creativity and ability to get things done and like, right? Like that kind of thing. I absolutely will listen to and take criticism from those people. Randos on the internet are not those people, right? Like, again, if you are going to take criticism from every random person who says mean words to you on Twitter or who types, 2 sentences without capitalization and punctuation into Twitch chat, you're not going to get very far at being successful. Sorry, that's just fact. So maybe this will help explain to you my attitude about these things. Like, dude, and the thing is, the only reason people even think that this is a thing somehow that they should be able to do is because because we've like demolished all societal structure, right? Is like, I'm here, dudes are in Twitch chat, and the people in Twitch chat think that they're like equal in stature because they're, whatever. And it's like, no, if you just showed up to your first year at Caltech as an undergrad, are you going to show up at Sean Carroll's office and tell him all the shit that he's doing wrong? I mean, you could try that, right? No, that's even too much. You're a freshman in high school physics in Pasadena, and you're hoping to get into Caltech in 4 years. So you drive down, you have your mom drive you down there because you're not old enough to drive yet. And then you go to Sean Carroll's office and tell him everything wrong he's doing about quantum mechanics and cosmology. I mean, you can try that, but there's enough social context to know that isn't really the thing to do. But here we don't have the social context. So people just don't understand, right? I'm describing Twitter. Yeah, pretty much. How much time do I think I've wasted writing bad code using bad language? A lot. A lot. Okay, so I think that might be it, right? Oh, I was going to run release tests on things. Release the bats. Okay, now we can tell the people, we're not going to ship the beta tonight, but we can add to the comments. Let's go to Verdansk before you end the stream. I do not know what that means. Did I read comics growing up? No, I've never been that much into comics. I did when I was in college, in the 90s, early 90s. I did like the Doom Patrol. I would go to the comic store every month to get that. And one or two of the other DC Vertigo comics of the time. But I mostly didn't read most comic books, no. Call of Duty. What about Call of Duty? You're supposed to call attach console at runtime. Yeah, I was hoping for a solution that wouldn't require people to do that. We could provide some function that they could call for that. I mean, maybe there's no point in, maybe they can just call the Windows one directly. Am I aware that I'm showing to you that programming is not only the deep shit you see everywhere else? Well, I mean, I don't know what you see other places. I assume it's bad because when, like, I dislike most current programming environments. But it's up to you, right? Like, it's up to you to look at what I'm doing and what other people are doing and judge for yourself what you like the most, right? It's not up to me. Okay. So yeah, let's go to this and say, hashes are now, what do I say? Are now differentiated between different calls to the same target procedure from the same source procedure. Let's put this down here. You probably don't care. This adds a small additional cost to procedure calls for now when stack trace nodes are enabled, which is a debugging profiling option. Release mode code should be unaffected. In the long term, this cost can be optimized away when there is only one call to the target procedure inside. You probably don't care, except for one major except that this means the memory debugger stuff in modules basic will not alias call stacks incorrectly in these cases. Will no longer alias. In the long term, this cost can be optimized away when there is only one call to the target procedure inside the current procedure. But currently it is not. Okay. That's a reasonable explanation, I think. So we can then put this in the commit message. Boom. What I say, I have any blind spots I've identified. Plenty of people have blind. Everybody has blind spots. Verdansk is a map in Warzone. I just think Warzone is boring. I don't think a new map is going to make it not boring. However, new season of Apex starts tomorrow, right? So maybe we'll do that. Do I take naps? Sometimes. Sometimes. What games do I play offline? I don't really. I mean, if you mean video games, I don't really like most games. So there's not that many. Like, I really enjoy it when a game comes along that I find interesting, but it's not very often. There's like nothing that I play on a regular basis right now. Have I played Battlefield 2042? No. Do I play D&D? No. No, I do not. Any upcoming indie games that I'm excited about? I don't know. I haven't been keeping super close tabs on what is coming up soon. There might be something. We could go on Steam and see what's the new and the upcoming games. Golf Club Wasteland. Oh, it's a puzzle platformer. I thought it was a golf game. All right. Upcoming. Unpacking. Story-rich pixel graphics casual. Conway. To the rescue. Tunch. Animal Shelter Prologue. Wait, these two games are competitors. Time Loader. It looks like a hidden object game. Okay, we need to figure out about Time Loader. There are all these games that seem like they're made out of like low cost meshes from the Unity asset store.
Functionality works fine.
You, little one, have a very important job to do. I'm counting on you.
Power Wash Simulator? No. Oh, he sent it back in the time microwave.
Successfully arrived in 1995. Now we have a screwdriver.
Okay.
Got it. Why does it look so deserted? What's happened here?
I mean, I didn't really see anything to make that look like a good thing. Although the physics on the little thing was okay looking.
Movement functionality.
Where cards fall. Oh. Did I see a trailer for that a long time ago? This sounds familiar. Why are indie developers so obsessed with cards? I don't know. I don't know what's upcoming. There's some Animal Shelter games. So guys, when I was in high school in the 80s, because I'm thinking about this game, like hey, you time travel back to the 1990s, right? And that's supposed to be cool. But like 1990s is meh. Like there's nothing there, right? It's like, okay, there's an older computer or an older game console or whatever. But like every decade after the 1980s has had zero personality, basically. I mean, 1990s sort of had like grunge and flannels or whatever, but not really, not most of the population, right? Like when I was in high school in the 80s, we had a very strong picture of the 50s personality wise. We had a very strong picture of the 60s personality wise. We had a very strong picture of the 70s personality wise. And I don't even know if anyone these days knows what those are supposed to be like, but they're definitely a thing. And today we have a very strong picture of the 80s, which I lived through. But the 90s, 2000s, right? Like I think we kind of ran out of ideas after the 80s and just nobody's really been doing anything interesting. When you think 90s, you think Office Space and Pulp Fiction. But like, wouldn't it be time now to have nostalgia for the 90s? Like even in like 2003, okay? I lived in Austin and I remember they had like Polly Esther's Dance Club, which was like a 70s and 80s themed thing. So like even in 2003, 13 years after the 80s, you had a definite 80s nostalgia thing. So like for the 90s, that would be like now. 90s sucked in fashion, but were pretty great otherwise. But like, what's the personality of the 90s, right? Like, what's the image of the 90s? What is it? SNES games? SNES games are 80s, dude. Flip phones? Okay, yeah, okay, there's one element. Hackers, you mean the movie? You saw a couple dress up as 90s people. Okay, wait. Revert, let's push that in the opposite direction. If there were two people and they were dressed up as 90s people, a couple, but you didn't know that that was their costume ahead of time, and you just looked at like you're at a party and you see these two people and you look at them and you go, "Oh, they're 90s." Are you telling me that you would be able to do that? Cuz I don't think I would. I could tell people who are 80s, I could tell 70s, I could tell 60s, I could tell 50s. 40s, I guess you dress like World War II or something, right? But like 90s? I wouldn't know what the fuck. They would just be wearing a little bit of weird clothing. It was pretty iconic. Okay, give me the link. Give me the link to the post. Okay. I lived through the 90s. Nobody wore this shit in the 90s. What are you talking about? This is not what people looked like in the 90s. I was in college in the 90s. This is not what anyone looked like. You guys don't. Is this like England in the 90s or something? Only ravers? Dude, I went to raves in the 90s. This is not really what it looked like. I mean, the girl here, maybe. Like the like rockabilly guy a little bit, but this isn't even like okay, like rockabilly was a thing in the 90s, but that guy doesn't look rockabilly exactly. I mean, he looks like someone who's trying to pretend to look like rockabilly, but then this guy, this upper body would not wear these pants, okay? That's just not, this is like you took the upper body from one costume and put it on the lower body from another one. Yeah, go ahead and put link. But this doesn't. High school in the 90s was this. All right, whatever. College in the 90s was not that. No, that post has a deleted image. I can't see the image. I don't know what you're talking about. I just want to see the picture, please. I mean, yeah, like that's 90s, yes. But you wouldn't, if somebody wore that at Halloween, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's 90s, right? Yeah, no, this is accurate. This is way more accurate than baggy jean pants photo. I mean, this is a certain subset of 90s, right? This is like upper middle class trying to look good, J. Crew 90s, whatever, but like it's accurate. Flannel shirts in the 90s, that is true. Yes, they were popular. Not on Friends, but definitely. But like there's nothing about like dress up as Ross for Halloween, right? Like it's not a thing. Fanny packs. Fanny packs are a little bit 80s actually. Or goths 90s. I mean, goths are trans decade. Goths started in the 80s and went through the 2000s. I mean, they still exist, but it's not a big thing anymore. Hmm. 90s people didn't wear masks. Anyway. Maybe this is what people looked at raves that were not as cool as the San Francisco raves or something. This guy looks the most legit right here. He's first place. She's second place. Responding to someone's comment does not commit you to the position that everyone is. Oh, God, you're still on this. You won't know unless you take a minute to consider what the person is saying. No, I'm not even going to read the rest of your comment. Look, there are billion, bajillion, quadrillions of people out in the world, okay? And in terms of programming, there are way more new programmers who don't know what they're doing than there are long-term seasoned experienced programmers, both because it's a growing field and because people drop out and because some people never get good, right? So like if you pick a random person, if you pick a random programmer, well, you have to ask, where is that person's experience level relative to yours, okay? If you're a brand new and you pick a random programmer, that person is probably more experienced to you and you could listen to them, right? If you've been around a long time and you've done a lot of stuff and you pick a random programmer, that person knows way less than you. So you're wasting your time listening to them and being aggravated by the dumb things that they're saying, right? Like that's just real. Look, again, I already said this, but if you listen to every person who on Twitter wants to tell you a thing about what you should do, you'll never get anything done and you'll die sad, right? Like what you're saying is totally absurd and infeasible. It doesn't even make any sense. And you would understand this if you'd had the experience. There's just way too many people in the world who want to tell you what you should do, and most of them are not worth listening to. That's just the facts. It's like Sturgeon's Law, right? And I did read what the dude wrote, and it was obviously, not something good. And I told him that, and he kept pressing on it. So, like, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know what your point is. All right, I'm going to stop responding to rando chatter. I do think we're done with programming tonight, though. I didn't expect this to be that big of a task because I thought it was just going to be a tiny thing. It ended up not being a tiny thing. But we handled it. That was good. What happens if you read Hacker News every day? It depends on how experienced you are. Can we keep things limited to 90s nostalgia? I mean, can you get ASMR next? You primed XQC. XQC doesn't need any more subs. Okay, any general questions that we could talk about before we sign off for the night? What's the deal with airplane food? I don't know, man. I don't eat airplane food anymore. I just always eat before I get on the plane. Am I planning on always making puzzles exclusively? No. No. General feels on progress of beta. I mean, it's going along. Improvements. Improvements. But yeah, back to the dude who was arguing previously. Like, look, if you want experienced programmers to listen to what you say and take it seriously and take it under advisement, you can get there, right? It's just that you shouldn't expect that if you're new and don't know that much. But if you go to the gym every day and work out and get really buff, then they'll want to listen to you because your ideas will be self-evidently good. So the goal as a programmer, as a new programmer, should be to get to that point. To get to the point where your ideas are tempered and made strong by experience such that they will sound clearly correct to at least some people who have experience. Now, won't sound correct to everybody who has experience because there's a lot of different factions in programming and all that, and things are not very reality based and whatever, but some people, right? And that's achievable for everybody. Like, everybody can get good. It's just, do they choose to or not? Are we anti-Pomodoro? Of course we're anti-Pomodoro. You want to make random levels and you're down the rabbit hole reading about procedural generation in a textbook. Well, yeah, I mean, procedural generation is a whole thing. Any update on schedule? No, I mean, it's my birthday soon, so I'm just chilling for a bit and not thinking about schedules right now. That's where I'm at organizationally. Do we have an LL1 gram or no? What little thing sparks the most joy in your life? Making beautiful and amazing puzzles that surprise even me. Am I still working on the next big project after Sokoban? Indirectly, yes. Directly, not right now. Like, Sokoban is a step toward that project because we're making the engine. Started a long project in order to learn about SIMD threads, but along the way you learned a vast number of other things and now you feel done with the project. Is it a bad habit if you start a new project for SIMD threads, or should you power through? What do you mean power? What? I don't understand the powering through alternative. You said you're done. Oh, you feel done. You feel done in the sense that you got something out of it and you don't want to work on it anymore. I don't know. This is a tough question. On the one hand, if you don't really feel interested anymore and you feel like you have stuff to learn elsewhere, do something else, and that's fine. Totally fine. On the other hand, finishing stuff is a skill that some people never get, right? And so you just want to make sure in the long term that you get the skill of finishing things. You maybe don't need that right now. It depends. Like, how bad do you want to have a finished project, right? But long term, you should want that skill. When was my last birthday? Last year. It was last year. Feel exhausted from the project but haven't reached SIMD threads topic. I mean, the question is just how much value is there to you to having it done? Also, though, okay, here's the thing about, we just talked about how programmers should all go to the gym and get better, right? feeling exhausted from working on a project, it's like, imagine you're lifting weights, right? And your muscles start to get tired. If you quit as soon as they start to get tired, then you're not really in the zone where you make the most gains, right? You want to keep going into that tired area a little bit, because you're building muscle for when you need it, right? Maybe. It depends on how exhausted you feel, right? Like, if you really can't do it anymore and there's not much utility to finishing it, then sure, do a different thing. You know. What was the last gift I received? Somebody sent me some food that I will get, but I haven't received it yet. The last gift I received, I'm remembering lots of random gifts, but I don't know what the last one was. If you send 1 million direct deposit, I will probably let you play with the compiler. Yes. Yes, if you send me $1 million direct deposit, you can be in the beta. In order to exercise the muscle of finishing projects or working harder hours than you used to, both, either. Both of those are useful things. Did you understand correctly that Sokoban is only a launching pad? No, it's not only anything. Do I think video games should be more about puzzles? No. Why would I think that? Can you tell the difference between exhaustion from productive work versus tired from unproductive work? I mean, I think people know the difference between those situations. Do I think there can theoretically be a personal knowledge organizer that actually makes sense and is useful and solves real problems? Personal knowledge organizer? I mean, that just sounds like a very general mission statement. So, like, I'm not sure what, like, maybe the better way to ask that question is to start with certain problems that you're trying to solve and then say, would a particular thing help solve this problem? What's my crypto wallet ID? It is 69105. Hey, that's a pretty good explosion. Except it's candles or something. It's like Asian floating candles. Look, if you think what I'm saying is bullcrap, you can leave, right? You don't need to be here. Like, why are you wasting time watching this channel if you think what I'm saying is so useless? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like a self-negating argument, because if you value your time that little that you're watching someone who you claim is saying garbage, then why would I listen to someone who values their time so incorrectly? Like, you're arguing something that I've never said you can't make a good game without programming well. It's like all right, bye. It's like you're saying stuff that I'd never even claimed, so it doesn't make any sense. Like, where do these people come from and what's their problem? I don't even get it. I don't even get it. There are less than a dozen people who are not full of bullcrap now. There's a lot more than a dozen people. There's a lot more. No, but dude was a bit hostile. It's true. But to his point, I mean, I think what he was claiming at root is a true thing. Like, you don't have to be a good programmer to be able to make good video games. But it helps, right? It expands the spectrum of what you're able to make. And it's just more enjoyable being a good programmer than not being a good programmer, right? But yeah, you can do things without, like, I've funded game teams that didn't even have a programmer. Like Cube, Qube, that was an Unreal Engine game that we funded. 0 programmers on the team, right? So like, this is again why it's like not worth listening to these people. They show up in the channel, they get all aggro and start insulting you and calling you names because they think you're saying something that doesn't even make any sense, because like, you've literally put $100,000 into projects that did what they're saying. It's like, that's the internet in the year 2021. I funded Cube. Yeah, Indie Fund helped fund Cube back in the day. It was a long time ago now. Can banned people still listen to streams? I don't know nowadays. I know that they used to be able to listen to streams. I think they still probably can. I don't actually know. Actually playing certain games doesn't stimulate many reward neurons. Yeah, I mean, maybe that happens after you've played the same kind of game enough times. Like, definitely, there are lots of games coming out today that if I hadn't ever played video games, I would be like, oh, this is cool, but I have played video games. And so I'm like, well. How many garlic coins for beta access? I mean, I think 69 million garlic coins is the cost for beta access. You have severe deck building roguelike fatigue. Yeah, people made a lot of those. Are there any plans to have an Ethereum virtual machine bytecode backend? It would be very easy for someone to make. Like, I mean, it's just like a stack machine bytecode instruction thing. So, okay, other questions? It's probably time for me to leave soon. Do I think there's any potential in making video games using generative networks? Not anytime soon. No. How much dollars for me to teach an online workshop in game design? 69 million garlic coins. Is there a time estimate to public beta? There isn't right now. We're just kind of winging it. We're definitely going to do a larger closed beta before we do a public beta. And when that larger closed beta starts, I'm not quite sure. I think we'll just accelerate the rate of growth for a while until it reaches some size that feels pretty good. And then how long does that go before public beta? I'm not sure. Like, we just have to see how it goes. Well, I will still honor the offer of 1 million as well. But 69 million garlic coins is less than $1 million. So, at least currently it is. Garlic coin is up 5% today. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for showing up today. We had a good time programming. We did some stack trace node things. Oh, it's 3 million USD. Okay. Well, there you go. So the 1 million is a bargain. It is a bargain. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll probably do some more streaming a little later on. I don't know. My birthday's coming up, like I said, so I might take a little bit of time before we come back and do that. We will see. Thank you. Thank you for the birthday cake emojis. I hope they taste good. And yeah, good night, everybody.